Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Won't you share with a friend or two? Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you. And many more. And many more. And many more. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Daring Dialogues. I'm your host today, Shantae Charles, and I want to let you know that we are, let's see. We are, I want to make sure I have this right. So let's see, 37. 38, 9, 40. We are on episode 41, which means we are 10 episodes away from finishing out season 16. Can you believe it? 2 weeks away from finishing out this season. So I hope if you're new with us that you will log in and lock in for our last 2 weeks of the season and go back. I have a whole playlist with nothing but season 16. So you can see all of the broadcasts that we have done so far this season, catch up, and then keep going with us to the end of the season. At the end of the season, we are going to take a bit of a station break, and then we will start season 17. So today it is Monday Motivation, Mindful Monday, and we're reading from Meditations for Black Women, which I feel like are meditations for anybody, if you ask me. They're very helpful. And then I came across this book, and I have really been enjoying reading it. It is Life's Journey According to Mr. Rogers, Things to Remember Along the Way. And I'm going to be reading some of his statements out of the section entitled Who You Are Right Now. So let's start with this first reading, Making Time to Understand Yourself. There's a lot happening in the world, and I will say that if you are measuring yourself by what's happening in the world, I feel like your sense of self is going to be shaky. I feel like if you are spending a lot of time comparing yourself to other people, your personal identity is going to be shaky. So I feel like, especially with this particular meditation, it's appropriate and necessary for right now. Make time to understand yourself. Don't let anyone else be in control of crafting the self that you want to be. Nikki Giovanni, poet, writer, activist, educator, in conversation with James Baldwin in 1971, said this: if you don't understand yourself, you don't understand anybody else. And I want to probably add, if you don't understand yourself, you're probably not going to make the time to really understand someone else. My most important relationship is the one I have with myself. That's the most important relationship you have. Not in relationship to other people, but in relationship to yourself. And sometimes what I'm coming to find out is that people do not want to face themselves. They don't want to look in the mirror, look at themselves, Think about the choices that they've made for their life and be accountable to yourself for the choices that you've made in your life. I can honestly say that my life has improved because I've chosen to look in the mirror, own my mistakes, own my choices. Even if I felt like somebody was influencing me towards something, I still have to own my part of the decision. I have to own my part of the choices that I've made. So the reflection here says this: understanding yourself opens doors to understanding others because we are all here on earth having a shared human experience. That's another thing. Some of us don't think that our human experience is being shared, that we are part of a larger ecosystem. Some of us think that our decisions are just happening in a vacuum, but they're not. They're not. Okay? It's vital that as a Black woman, you learn to humanize your lived experiences. And I'm going to say that's vital for any of us. The dehumanizing experience that can come with microaggressions or with misogynoir can have a lasting impact on you, causing you to disconnect or disassociate from yourself. Now, this is something you don't want to do as it leads to self betrayal and misalignment with your true self. Thus, you must make time to better understand yourself. And good morning to those of you who are coming in. The most important relationship that you have is with yourself. It influences everything about your life, especially your relationships. To get to know yourself better, you must take time for it. No one is going to give you time. I had to learn that the hard way. People will let you run yourself into the ground and then they will applaud you for it and give you a medal posthumously. Let me say that again. People will allow you to run yourself into the ground and they will applaud you and give you a medal posthumously, i.e., after you're dead, from running yourself into the ground, because people will let you do that. They will. So no one's going to give you time. You must make time for it. Okay. This can look like spending time in nature, meditating, and having quiet time to think and explore your thoughts and feelings. Another way to get to know yourself is to explore your new hobbies and activities. The time you spend understanding yourself will help you to have a better relationship with yourself. Additionally, having a better understanding of who you are will not happen overnight. There is no perfect timeline to a stronger relationship with yourself. What matters is that you continue to pour into yourself first on your journey of self discovery. You cannot pour into others from an empty cup. So get serious about getting to know yourself. Now, if you come from a spiritual standpoint or you come from a spiritual perspective, oftentimes we hear people say the commandments are to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. But notice people skip the as yourself part. Mhm. A lot of people do. I cannot love my neighbor as myself if I don't know the self that I'm loving. Let that sink in. Let it sink in. So again, people like to skip past knowing themselves and they like to hop to love your neighbor. But you cannot love your neighbor if you do not love yourself. And you cannot love yourself if you do not know yourself. Hence, make time to understand yourself. All right. So take some action today. What is your relationship like with yourself? Can you pinpoint things about yourself that you actually like, that you enjoy? Do you like hanging out with yourself? Or do you always have to have somebody around? Do you like being alone with your thoughts? Do you give yourself time to think? I know at one point in my life, I did not like being by myself. Um, I used to like want to go out, want to be around people all the time. It was, I was always trying to involve myself in some kind of external activity until I got a chance to know myself better. And then I realized, wait a minute, I don't necessarily need all these external activities. I like being me. I like being around myself. I like doing things like journaling or listening to music quietly or dancing in my living room with absolutely nobody watching. Think about it. What are some things that you enjoy doing that does not require anybody else to be present? That doesn't require anybody else's approval. Oh, that word. That doesn't require someone to say, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Think about how many activities you're involving yourself in. All right. The next book we're looking at today is Life's Journeys, according to Mr. Rogers. Now, I don't know how, but there are some people that absolutely do not like Mr. Rogers. And yeah, those people are probably not my people. This is coming from the section of Mr. Rogers' book entitled Who You Are Right Now, which I feel like is very timely for today. I'm going to read you a couple of his selections. He says here, what's been most important in my understanding of myself and others is the fact that each one of us is so much more than any one thing. A sick child is much more than his or her sickness. A person with a disability is much more than their handicap. A pediatrician is more than a medical doctor. You are much more than your job description or your age or your income or your output, which is so very important to know about yourself because we live in such a capitalistic society that measures people by how much they're outputting rather than who they are. I want to go to the next one here. He says, when people help us to feel good about who we are, they are really helping us to love the meaning of what we create in this life. It seems to me that the most essential element in the development of any creation must be love. A love that begins in the simple expressions of care for a little child and once received goes on to mature into responsible feelings about ourselves and others. I just finished up a 7-week sermon on Matthew 5, and we ended with the subject of love. And I said, love is often the least used, but it's the most powerful weapon that we have in the world. But it's not the one that people reach for first. I wonder why. Here's another one here. I need thinking time when someone asks me a searching question. I wonder why it seems to be so uncomfortable for many people to wait through the silence. People of all ages have deep feelings, and if we have the patience to wait through the silence, it's often astounding what people will tell us. Part of getting to know yourself. One of the things that the Spirit of God told me to do one time was to have it take a day of silence. Now I know there's been some people that have done it for a week. They've done it for 3 days. One of my friends said she did it for 30 days, but it was because she went away. So she was not, she was like vacationing and she was able to do it. But I would encourage you to at least try to do sometime this year, if you have not already, try to do one whole day of silence where you are not talking at all. You're only listening. And whether that is listening to your environments, listening inwardly to hear what your thoughts are, that one day of silence changed a lot of things for me. Number one, it let me know that I was talking too much. Number two, it showed me people's attitudes and behaviors. It was like I had a heightened sense of observing things that were being said to me. And because I couldn't respond back, I was doing more than just paying attention to the words that were said. I was looking at people's eyes. I was looking at people's body language. I was much more attentive when I couldn't speak and when I couldn't say something back. And so when he said this here about waiting through the silence, it made me not try to fill silence either. It gave me the space to hear what people were going to say because I wasn't filling the space with my own conversation. So I encourage it, highly recommend it. At least 24 hours of silence sometime this year if you haven't done it. All right. Let's do a couple more of these. I can't read them all. This is a good one. Who you are right now. Letting go is seldom easy, whether it's letting go of our children, our parents, or our childhood feelings. But just as the root systems of plants often have to be divided for healthy growth to continue, the different generations within a family may have to pull apart for a while for each to find its own healthy identity. You got family members? Do you live close by them? I don't think the closest I live to any of my family members is like an hour drive. All right. Let's do two more. This is Mr. Rogers talking about graduating from college and finding his identity. When I graduated from college, I had little notion of how I'd ever be able to put together all of the interests that I had. Anybody feel like that? Anybody on here multi-talented? Sometimes we call ourselves multi-hyphenates, where you have lots of gifts or lots of talents and you're trying to figure out how to put them together, how to use them, how can they be of service to you in your life. Um, Definitely, how are you going to earn income from your multi-hyphenate, multi-talented self? He said, it took a great deal of time, and my parents probably wondered if I'd ever be able to make anything of myself. But I'll never forget the sense of wholeness I felt when I finally realized, after a lot of help from a lot of people, what in fact I really was. I was not just a songwriter or a language buff or a student of human development or a telecommunicator, but someone who could use every talent that had ever been given to me in the service of children and their families. I can tell you that it was that particular focus that made all the difference for me. I can also tell you that the directions weren't written on the back of my college diploma. They came ever so slowly for me and ever so firmly. I trusted that they would emerge. All I can say is it's worth the struggle to discover who you really are and how you, in your own way, can put life together as something that means a lot to you. It's a miracle when you finally discover whom you're best equipped to serve. And we're all equipped to serve in some way. Let me tell you a short story about how I found out who I was best equipped to serve. I went to college. Well, first off, from the time I was about 9 years old, I was an child. Artistic child. Um, I sang. I did a little dancing, visual arts. Um, I didn't do acting when I was a child. I got into doing acting later. But I latched on to this notion that I wanted to be an architect because of some things that I saw, people that I observed, and it was like a light bulb that came on, and I was like, oh, I really like this. I think that I'm going to do this one thing. So I spend most of my elementary, middle, and part of my high school time working on the arts, working on my visual arts more specifically, but also doing some music and choral activity on the side. But I was more invested in being a visual artist. So by the time I got to college, I'd applied to several colleges, gotten accepted, um, and the school that I chose did not say they didn't have an architecture program because that was what my major was going to be. Was I think I had put down architecture or pre-architecture, and so I get to school and they tell me, "Oh, we don't have your major at our school." Mind you, I've turned down four other schools that actually had my major, but I wind up going to a college that doesn't. But the other college that I turned down was also a college that was in the town. And so by the time I got to my sophomore year, it was sort of decision time, right? So I said, okay, I can do a dual enrollment and I can take architecture courses at the other college and make sure that this is the direction I definitely want to go in. I spent a semester in the School of Architecture there. And I came to the conclusion after knowing myself that whatever grandiose dreams I had of being an architect, I was like, this is not for me. This is not for me. I didn't like the setup. And maybe it was the college that I was attending at the time, but I didn't like how the architecture program was set up. I felt very alone. I felt isolated. And I was like, I am really a people person. Like, I love art, but I'm also a people person. I love art, but I also want to interact and engage with people. I love art, but I also love teaching. And so that's how I switched from considering becoming an architect into going into art education. So that was the switch for me. But I can always say, hey, I went to the School of Architecture. I took my courses. I did okay, but there was no passion for me in that direction. Um, but when it came to educating, when it came to teaching, that's where my true passion was. So it wasn't that I gave up or had to give up art, right? It was that I needed to understand, like he said, what was the particular focus that I needed to have. And for me, that focus was on education, that focus was on teaching, that focus was on training. And so I get really, really passionate when it comes to art and when it comes to art education. And so I think this is a good conversation to have with yourself. Are you going to try what you need to try? Because I didn't just say, oh, well, I guess I'm going to go in this direction. No, I actually went to school, went to architecture school, took a semester of classes, decided this was not for me. This is not a good fit for me. And then I changed majors. So ask yourself, are you willing to struggle with who you really are? Are you willing to test some things out? Now was that a expensive test for me? Let's just say I graduated a semester later, than my initial graduation date. But I would rather have done that than to be on a course or to be in a profession that I didn't like and that I didn't enjoy, but that I would be doing for most of my life. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because as he said here, it's worth the struggle to discover who you really are and how you, in your own way, can put life together as something that means a lot to you. To find out how you are best equipped to serve other people, to find out how you are best equipped to serve in this life and in this world. So, a lot of the work that I do is around education, whether it's educating young children, whether it's educating teenagers, whether it's educating young adults, whether it's educating adults. It all leads back to education. That's what I'm best equipped to do. All right. And then the last one here. He says, what are some of the ways of showing and telling who you are and how you're feeling? They may be sports or homemaking or art or music or crafts or science or math or dance or selling or public speaking, whatever they may be. And if you know they're healthy, try to keep embracing them, love them, give them room to grow inside yourself because those gifts of expression are unique to you. Are you able to believe in a loving presence who desires the best for you and the entire universe? I know I do. With all the sadness and destruction, negativity and rage being expressed throughout the world, it's tough not to wonder where exactly the loving presence is. Well, we don't have to look very far. Deep within us is given to us a spark of the divine waiting to be used to light up the darkest of places. The only thing is, we have the free choice of using it or not. That's the mysterious truth of who we human beings are. So, are you going to choose to be light in the earth? Are you going to choose to learn yourself and to understand yourself and figure out how you are best equipped to serve this human life, this human journey? Or are you going to let other people decide it for you? What is it going to be? All right. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Um, Ben, if you are with me, I'm going to try to send you the connecting link. Let me try today. All right. It says so. See if you have it. Hopefully, it's not in your spam box today, and see if you can hop on. And today, we're just talking about who you are meant to be. Taking time to understand yourself. If you are interested in joining me for some creative and making time, I'm going to be on our Facebook channel today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be live and I'm going to be painting and talking. I'm going to be talking about love and power, and I'm going to be painting this canvas. This is just my pencil drawing, but I'm going to fill it in today live. So if you want to join us for that, some people will be just they'll be live, but they'll be doing their own thing. They might be journaling, they might be working on music, but we're gonna just open up some space, what I call makers time. And then if people want to come on and share what they're making with us, they'll be able to do that. All right. Again, that's on my Facebook page, Black Table Talk. We'll be doing that at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good
How are you
morning.
feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Good. Awesome.
I would probably feel better if I didn't have to work today. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Um, two things I want to focus on.
Okay.
I want to focus on knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I've learned is that when you know yourself, you know your limits
Mm-hmm.
and you know your faults.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're strong in and you know what you're weak in. If you have a quick temper, you know that. So you try to avoid situations
Mm-hmm.
until you can get that under control.
True.
Um, if you have a soft heart for people,
Mm-hmm.
which can be a fault sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because people tend to take advantage of that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was one of my problems. While I still have a soft heart, I can see when a person is genuine, and I can see when they're there just to try and use me. So, so knowing yourself, you can avoid a lot of things.
I just wanted to help people. I'm a helper.
Yeah, well,
And
that's me.
so
I'm a helper.
and so trying to learning to distinguish between helping people and people who will run you ragged
Mhm.
because you're so willing to help.
Mhm.
That was my biggest thing. Like not realizing that if you did not put the onus back on the person, they would just keep asking and asking and asking and asking and asking and asking. And it would be detrimental for you in the sense that number one, you're not giving them the space to learn on their own.
Mhm.
And it's almost like you can become a god in someone's life unwittingly because you think you're just helping, but they're turning you into their source.
Exactly. I've learned that some people, when they say, "Can you help me?" they really mean that because they're going to participate.
Mm-hmm.
You got those that say, "Can you help me?" And then what they really mean is, "Can you do this for me?"
Mm-hmm.
See, and they want you to take the beast by the horns
Mm-hmm.
and run it
Mm-hmm.
while they just sit back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, so that's something that I had to learn. Now let's move on to Mr. Rogers. I think a lot of people don't like Mr. Rogers. The ones that don't like him because in an undercover way, he was teaching what Christ was teaching.
Mm-hmm.
He was teaching about love.
Mm-hmm.
And everything Christ taught had to do with love.
Mm-hmm.
That was the basis of everything Christ taught.
Well, I found out, I didn't know, I found out he was a Christian,
Hmm.
but I didn't find that out until his passing. But it would make sense because his song is Won't You Be My Neighbor?
And I thought about that just as you were speaking.
He
Yeah.
was like, love your neighbor as yourself. Won't you be?
Hmm.
Won't you be? Won't you be my neighbor? He would tell you
Hmm.
right then. And he wasn't going and saying, all you have to do is give your life to the eternal Savior and repent of your sins and you'll be saved from hell. I mean, that's one approach, right? It's one approach, but he that winneth souls is wise.
Hmm.
So he
Yeah.
took a message of love and goodness and truth and joy and beauty and serving and caring for your neighbor, and he packaged it in a way that people could receive it
Hmm.
without saying Jesus, 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 Jesus 50 times in his television program.
Hmm.
Because again, he that winneth souls is wise. I think that's a
Hmm.
big lesson that we can all stand to use and learn from.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm not going to say nobody's concerned with it, but seem like those that are uh how do I want to say this? Those that are pretty much well known, those that are always on the scene,
Mm-hmm.
seems not to be the ones that are about souls. They're about attention and religion, how many people they can draw to them, and just spreading religious beliefs. Um, and that was proven. I'm gonna say this. That was proven in the last election because a lot of people that call themselves Christians voted for this person because quote unquote he was against abortion, quote unquote he was against same-sex marriage, quote unquote he was against LGBTQ. Now tell me, because I haven't seen it, where is it that Jesus taught against those things?
Your guess is as good as mine because I've been studying Jesus' words for about 27
Yeah,
years now.
what he taught was reaching people. What he taught was deliverance. What he taught was love. And he gave us an example when he sat at the table with sinners. Don't bash them, draw them. Why? Because it was about the soul. What did he say to the disciples when they complained about him sitting at the table with sinners? He said, the healthy don't need a physician.
Mm.
Those that are with me, you're with me. Those that are not, I need to draw them. I need to bring them in. I need to heal them. See, so they failed. Those that voted for this man because of that, they failed in what Christ told them to do.
Well,
So
I
they
mean,
settled for that.
the other piece is there is a consent. If you look at any of Jesus' teachings, if you're studying Jesus' teachings, one of the things that I saw that Jesus is big on is consent,
Mm-hmm.
meaning I'm not going to force you into my way of thinking or believing. I'm going to leave it up to you to make the choice and decide.
Mm-hmm.
And so anytime I see people trying to force faith and remove consent, we have a problem. Again, he that winneth souls is wise. I'll tell you a little something about this here. Usually when I wear this, when I go out and I wear this bracelet, I don't have to say anything about the bracelet. People will say, "Oh, that's a really interesting bracelet you have on. I've never seen that before. It's not like some of the other ones I've seen, some of the other charms I've seen. Is there something special about your bracelet?" And I get to launch into a whole spiel. I get to talk about my love of music, right? I get to talk about this heart here represents the heart of God and his love that comes to us. I get to talk about the red, the purple, and the blue, which are representative of the temple and the priest. And so this bracelet is an expression of the heart of God that comes through music and my ministry of music. Um, so this, when I wear this represents my ministry of music and using the heart of God in my music and the spirit of God in my writing to draw people to Christ, who is at the heart of everything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, "Oh, so you can sing. Let me hear a little bit." And then I say, "Well, what do you want to hear me sing?" Because I don't sing everything. I know a couple of things here and there, but I will tell them my specialization is gospel music, inspirational music, and hymns. And usually the person will say, "Oh, there's a hymn I haven't heard in a long time." Because people just don't sing those things anymore. Why don't you sing us a hymn? And then
Mm-hmm.
from that space, right, then it brings that person back to maybe saying, "Man, I haven't been really connected in my faith like that anymore." but the song that you sang brought me back into a space of belief. And then I say, well, do you want to pray about it? Do you
Mhm.
want to reconnect in your faith? I'm not here to tell you how to believe. I'm just here to help you facilitate your reconnection.
Mhm.
And then sometimes we pray, and sometimes they'll say, no, I'm good, I'm good, but thank you, thank you for singing that song for me. And so, what does that do? That's a seed that's planted. It's a seed that's
Mhm.
planted. But it started with a bracelet that I wasn't talking about, that they asked me about. And so, when I say he that winneth souls is wise, ask God, how are you supposed to move in this world when it comes to encouraging people, when it comes to sharing God's heart, sharing his love that he has for every single person created? Sometimes we have a hard time with that. Sometimes we have a hard time um, really believing that God has a heart, that the Creator has a heart to love everybody, even the people that we don't get along with, even the people sometimes who
Mhm.
we don't like and sometimes we don't agree with. Um, but just ask for what is my direction? How should I be sharing your heart with other people? Because I can tell you right now, we are definitely in a time where people don't really want to hear about a creator. It's a challenging time. People's trust has been eroded because so many people are using the creator for their own evil, greedy means.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there are valid trust issues that people have when it comes to the faith. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. I want to. You said something about Christ not. Well, Christ giving, seeking consent. He taught consent, not force. Let's go all the way back to the Old Testament. What was the message to the children of Israel that God called His? He said, "Choose you this day who you will serve." And these were the people that He chose. So if He gives them the freedom to accept Him or reject Him, who are we? Who are we to take those freedoms away? See, we have too many people, as you said, using His name
Mm-hmm.
and don't. They can't really know Him because if you know Him, then you know of His heart.
Mm-hmm.
If you know of His heart, that's what concerns you more than anything. Pleasing Him and following after His heart and not for yourself, not trying to please or satisfy people, not trying to excite people to draw them to you, not trying to force people to believe as you believe.
Mm-hmm.
Our thing is to plant the seed. That's it. We plant the seed.
Yep.
That's it. Our job is done. If somebody comes along and water that seed and it begins to grow, our job was still done. Somebody else came along and did their part.
And I'm
And if they
always gonna
reject the water, then the person that water it, that's not their fault.
and I'm always gonna go back to um, planting seeds, planting seeds with the right intent, planting
Hmm.
seeds with the right intent. I posted on Black Table Talk last night, and it seemed like some people were struggling with it. I said, you don't have to correct people if somebody doesn't know something, right, you don't have to tell them what it is and then season it, sprinkle some condescension on top of it. I think that too is sometimes what hurts our witness, because people can be condescending to you when they're trying to share, or they can treat you like you are less than them because they
Mhm.
know something that you don't know. And I think too, that's one thing that I've been trying to make sure with myself, that when I'm sharing things with people, I'm checking my heart and I'm checking my intent. Um, am I coming to this person and sharing out of a sense of superiority, like I know better than you? Am I doing it with some condescension sprinkled on top? Because my husband and I had this little joke. Sometimes I'll say, sometimes people look at you and it's almost like they're petting you, like, oh, you silly little nincompoop, you know,
Mhm.
you don't know any better, and people can sense that. They really can. They can tell when you're being condescending. And so sometimes we have to remove, um, and we have to check our behavior, even in presenting something that could be good or could be the truth. It's like, are you seasoning it though with some other stuff? Are you seasoning it with your condescension? Like, is that why people are not receiving you? Because maybe you're telling them the truth, but you're doing it in such a condescending way that people can't receive the truth because all they see is all your seasoning of condescension on top of it. And most people don't want to be treated in a condescending manner. Most people. Now, some people might just curse you out. Um, but 9 times out of 10, if you're coming to people in condescension, or having this air of superiority about yourself when you're trying to share something that could be good, they're still not getting the good parts because you're blocking it with all the other stuff on top. Final thoughts today.
I'm going to share this, and I'll be done. Because you said something about condescending or some trying to make somebody feel less than.
Mm-hmm.
I had that experience in the courtroom with my kid's mother. Mind you, she's a bailiff. Well, she was a bailiff for Broward County. So I'm in the courtroom. Her and her attorney, they used a word that I had never heard. Didn't know what it mean. So they started like looking at me like condescending, like kind of laughing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started using terms that I use on the job. They didn't know what they were. Use on a daily basis
Mm-hmm.
on the job. I turned it around on them. Started using terms that I use on a daily basis on the job. They didn't know what it was. I didn't have to say another word. I just did to them what they did to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge picked it up. And he started kind he didn't laugh out loud, but he started smirking and kind of laughing a little bit inside. You can see it, you can see him chuckle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and smiled because he saw what they were doing. And he saw my response. And that made his day. So if somebody try and make you feel less than,
Mm-hmm.
you can respond without coming back and arguing and yelling and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. That's what I did.
Yeah. And it goes
So,
back. I mean, it goes back to treat others the way you want to be treated too.
hmm
Because um, I've had people come up to me, right, and want to present the gospel to me, not realizing I'm already a minister of the gospel. I'm already ordained elder. I'm already a pastor. And I look at their approach, right? And I don't knock them for trying to approach me because, you know, people are taught go out into the world and share. But I do say, hey, if this is your approach, here's what you can improve. Because I've already received the gospel, but here are some things you can improve in your approach. Now, some people will receive that, and then some people get upset and they say, "Oh, I'm wasting my time with you. Let me move on." And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Are you sure you want to move on? Are you sure you want to move on? Are you sure you want to move on?" Some people will move on and they won't ever get the lessons of what they could have done better. And that's just the way it is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been another episode of Daring Dialogues, and I've been your host today, Shantae Charles. It's been Motivation Monday, and we've been talking about who you are right now and understanding yourself more and better. Again, I want to encourage you to take the time out. As the writer said, no one is going to give you that time. They're not going to make that time for you, but you can make that time for you. You can shift your schedule. Look at what you have going on for the rest of the year, October, November, December. Think about, where's a day in there in my schedule that I can take and maybe commit to that 24 hours of silence. Think about it. Think about what are some days and some times I can etch in my schedule where I'm just allowing myself to sit with myself, to sit in the silence, to listen and to hear what's coming to my heart so that I can write it down, so that I can create something out of what I feel and hear and see in that time. Sometimes I don't create anything. I just write it down. I put it in my journal. I write down the things that I'm hearing. I write down the lessons that are coming to me. Sometimes you might not have blocks of space, but one of the things that I do is I keep a sticky pad with me. And so when thoughts come to my mind, I can put it on the sticky tab and tack it. I did that the other day. I had like 10 or 15 different things that came to my mind throughout the day. And I would stop and I would write it down on the sticky tab and I say, I'm going to come back to it later. And so at the end of the evening, I took out all my sticky tabs from the day and I looked at them, reviewed them, decided, oh, this was crazy, tossed that thought. So it kind of can give you a way to evaluate too the things that are coming to your mind. What's serious that's coming to your mind? What's not serious? What's a memory or a saying or a thought that you want to hold on to longer? Is it something that you need to go back and examine? And some of the thoughts, I would take them and then I would transfer those sticky tabs to my journal, you know, when I had more time. So think about that for yourself. The tools that you already have in front of you. What are some things you already have in front of you that you can use to help you with that time of processing yourself, to understand yourself better? Remember, this is not about who other people think you are. It's about who you say you are, who you know yourself to be. Are you doing the work to spend time understanding yourself? Final thought, Pastor Ben.
Number two. uh, Again, we need to know ourselves. Know who you are. Know your purpose. And don't allow anybody to tell you any different or to pull you out of that.
Thank you very
And
much for
that's the
those
bottom
words.
line.
Thank you very much for those words. This has been another episode of Daring Dialogues, and I've been your host today, Shantae Charles. Pastor Ben has been my co host. Thank you for your time and attention. Remember, light is the most daring opposition to darkness. So continue to go out and be what?
Light.
Light. Take care. care, everyone. Be well, and most importantly,